Welcome to A Funny Thing Called Business. We are 4 business owners with over 30 years collective experience under our belts, sharing the capers and triumphs of running a small business and how we now avoid perilous customer chaos and pitfalls. I'm Clare Whalley. We also have
Darren Langley,
Kate Curry,
Pete Morgan.
So today we've got a very special episode, I think, because it's very rare that we have visitors on. In fact, I think this is only the second time. Is that right, guys?
It's only the second time I can remember anyway.
So we are welcoming Paul Faulkner this morning. So welcome, Paul.
Hello.
Before we get chatting to you, I'm just going to share with our listeners a synopsis of your career to date. So obviously I popped onto LinkedIn and just had a little poke around there, as well as being the co-founder of Element 45. You were Brummie of the Year last year. This is news to me.
Yeah, I'm the reigning Brummie of the Year, Claire. Yeah? I hold it from November 2024 to November 2025. So
Wow.
yeah, so I've got another 10 months still to go.
So that one passed me by, and I feel like I'm all over this kind of stuff. So
I should have brought my trophy with me, shouldn't I? Just to prove
What is the trophy? Is it?
It's a nice glass sort of thing, but yeah,
You need to be shouting about this more, I think.
Okay, I will do.
I've not seen
My kids brought me down to earth because they're both proudly born in Birmingham. They said,
Yeah.
"But Dad, you're not a proper Brummie. How can you be Brummie of the Year?" So we've had a lot of debate and discussion around that.
Brilliant. So previous to starting your own business, you were chief exec of the Greater Birmingham Chambers of Commerce. You've been chief exec of Villa. You've got lots of non-exec director roles, chief of staff and operations. So your career is pretty impressive.
Thank you.
You've got the job.
Which is why I really wanted to get you into this podcast to chat, because I think you must have a really interesting perspective to share coming from those kind of roles and starting your business. Am I okay to say later in life?
Well,
Is that
still
okay?
a young pup, really, Claire, but yeah. Kind of,
So we've got a few questions prepared
Yeah.
for you. Kate, would you kick us off?
of course. I'll be gentle with you, Paul, don't worry.
Great, okay.
So I'm always really interested in people's why and their motivation behind why they do certain things, particularly with business and what you want to achieve with it. So I would love to know what was your biggest motivation to take the leap into setting up your own consultancy. And now you're a year in, is your motivation, do you feel it's still the same, or has that changed since you've been doing your own business?
That's a great question to start with, sort of a big one, really. I suppose I've had a really eclectic career, and I've been really lucky in that I've done an awful lot. Opportunities have sort of found me, and so I've been able to move from various different things. And I look back now and go, blimey, that's pretty wild and eclectic. But
Don't you believe you make your own luck?
yeah, you work hard, and I think stuff just sort of comes. But I try to not overly dwell on it, and
Yeah.
I always say I'm intrigued to see what I do next, because I don't know, but I'm gonna kind of get up, work hard, graft, and things happen, and
Yeah.
sort of I believe in that, and I sort of reached that moment in life where it felt, thanks Claire, as you say, time ticks by, and I'd always been used to quite a lot of autonomy, certainly in recent roles. So you get used to not necessarily owning your own business, but trusting your own judgment and making big decisions and seeing the success or failures of that. And sort of thought, well, why not now? Why not give it a go? I've lived here in Birmingham now for nearly 20 years, and the family are very well set, so you start to know, right, I'm not going to move. I don't want to sort of be anywhere else in the world. So you kind of get certain parts of the brief narrowed down. I've built up a really good network and loads of connections, and that's just from doing the different jobs that I've done. And you sort of reflect on that and go, well, that's useful and handy and has a currency to it. And I kind of thought, well, I think, I want to do interesting things. I want to try different stuff. I think I've got a lot of hard-earned experience now, lots of scars on my back from all of the mistakes and errors that you make in business and in life in general, I suppose. And Also felt I was still young enough, Claire, to have a slightly different perspective as a sort of advisory business, almost like a non-exec or a chair, of not being 65. Nothing wrong with being 65, but I did a lot of senior roles quite early in my career, and I thought that would be an interesting perspective, and I thought that there'd be an appetite for that, and so that encouraged me to take the plunge. And there was a timing factor with my partner in Element 45, Mark Taylor, who was finishing up at RSM, where he ran the business across the sort of central region, and we sort of thought we would combine and join forces and give it a go. And a year on, I look back and go, the first year went really well. I was busy, maybe busier than I expected. I like working hard, and I kind of think I haven't got. I think one thing that people won't match me or beat me on is on hard work. I will get up and graft, and so I don't mind working hard. And but it's gone well, and I have been really energised this year by the opportunities, the clients I've worked with. Again, I've got quite a nice eclectic portfolio of things I'm working on right now, which is a bit of a snapshot maybe in my whole career, but it just energises me. So I sort of at Christmas, you take a little moment to look back and go, wow, that's been great. It's here, there, everywhere. I've loved working with the people I'm working with, and excited about what comes next. I figure it will keep evolving, but I'm comfortable with that. I'm really comfortable with change, and that you'll adapt. And
because you can't avoid that, especially as a business
Definitely
owner,
not.
and you have to be adaptable. I think it's really exciting to like bring all of that expertise to the table and be able to sort of then share that, and other people can, learn from it and capitalise on everything you've learned over your career.
It sounds like you made the decision to start your own business in a really chilled out way. Was it an itch that you had to scratch to be a business owner?
I think it's always been in my mind that it's something I would like to do. So again, it wasn't like a must do, because you never quite know where and when and timings, and but it was something that I thought I quite fancied. And I remember my dad set up a business in the late 80s and got caught out by a recession, set up a marketing creative agency, actually, which didn't survive that. So he had a good job in the newspaper industry, set up this business, sort of 2 years later had to go back into industry. And I don't know if there's a part of me where, I'm not saying unfinished business, that makes it sound a bit more romantic than it maybe was, but you go, I think I can do it. And I know my dad passed away 6 years ago, but you sort of do go, if he was here, I can kind of hear that voice going, well, give it a go, son.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
that
Nice.
definitely
Carry the torch on.
and it's funny, you sort of people you look up to, and that definitely sort of stays with me. And you kind of, I've never been one, once it's in your head, I don't like then going, I'm not going to do it and shying away. I go, come on. There's that little push in the back, and you go, come on, be brave, be bold, and give it a go.
I think that kind of leads me on to my question, which, I remember people saying back to me, oh my God, you're so brave to leave, decent salary and start up your own business. And I had very different ideas of what it was going to be like running a business. So what were your thoughts on what it was going to be like to run a business versus the reality?
That's a really good question. I didn't know, and I was quite comfortable embracing the unknown. I wanted to discover what it was like to do it myself, and had been involved in ideas and concepts of starting up, but never setting up a business. And you realise how little you know, and
Totally.
From all of just the nuts and bolts and the pragmatic stuff, and you are out there, and you do feel like you're on the high wire, don't you, a little bit, and you wonder how high the safety net, or is there a safety net there, and that's quite exhilarating and daunting at the same time. And I don't know, if it's just me, and hopefully you guys all felt the same, but you have those moments where you're lying in bed and you're staring at the ceiling and you sort of do go, what if the phone doesn't ring? Kind of, what if no one cares? What if I do all this? And people go, well, so what?
Every day.
17 years in. Sorry, but...
And, and you've got to convince family and everyone else. And, you weigh up the risks and what sort of, what your bailout options might be and all of that sort of stuff. And I found, I don't know if you did, that part of that is controlling your own mind and fears, and I've always felt you could be comfortable. It's okay to have those little wobbles, and then you go to your trusted people to talk to and get out of your own head and air it out, and a bit of self-help movies like this, and you realise that you're not unique and others are in the same thing, and then lo and behold the phone does ring, and then an opportunity comes, and sort of maybe it's back to your point, Kate, like 12 months on, I have a slightly greater comfort of going, like this year there'll be things I haven't even thought about yet, and people I don't even know yet, who in 12 months' time I'll be working with and doing. And I'm sort of excited for that to come. When it does pop through, I'll say to myself, there's one of those moments. Yeah. Hey, I was right. Guess there's no guarantee, but you just experience teaches you that it does happen.
Everything's so heightened, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I think compared to being employed, when you're running your own business, it's like you have the same ups and downs, but they're so much like higher and lower. It's a bit like going from the Ladybird ride at the fair to like Nemesis, isn't it? Just more for the cameras on the way past.
I'm quite hard on myself as well, and it's never good enough, or what if, or you always think about, well, hang on, if I've got half a dozen clients, but if I have none, then what does that look like? And or what if it's that Monday where everyone suddenly decides they don't want to do anything anymore? And I think at Christmas, sort of reflecting back, it was about saying that you've worked hard and done, you've added value this year. You want to add value to people, and I suppose the feedback you get is when they don't want to work with you anymore. And if they do, then that's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what you can go on.
Yeah.
How's my bank balance?
You don't get the one-to-ones, do you? Or the sort of structured sort of piece telling you've done a good job.
Or someone telling you, you've done a brilliant job. Yeah.
As a business owner or leader, are you looking for some senior level support to help with your strategic thinking and growth plans, or just to bounce ideas off with the benefit of experience? If so, then reach out to Element 45 for a conversation. Founded by experienced regional business leaders Mark Taylor and Paul Faulkner, Element 45 works with a range of clients providing customized services to help businesses grow and navigate the current commercial landscape. To find out more and to contact us, please visit element45.co.uk.
It's interesting how you're sharing your kind of mindset behind it all. It's exciting, exhilarating, open to opportunities, and also that you're hard on yourself. Because I think everyone around the table can, attest to that's how
we relate.
We can relate to that. So it's a definite business owner mentality. I think we kind of have to be hard on ourselves.
Yeah. I think if you're not, then you wouldn't be successful, would you?
Yeah, you just got to keep kind of driving forward. So, Darren.
Yes.
It took you a while to come up with this question, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Pondering.
I'm
expecting a bouncer now.
Absolutely. Well, I was so tempted to ask you about Aston Villa at your time there, but I won't.
No, it's okay.
Okay, let's grab that question, then we're going to talk about Villa. No. I know you're a non-executive director, and that's kind of a role that I find kind of intriguing, but in the sense of I don't really know what it is. So I wonder if you could kind of give me an idea of what the purpose is, how a non-executive director helps a business as opposed to an executive director or a founder or whatever it might be, and how, secondarily to that, how a business kind of gets to that position where, how do they know when they're in that position where they need perhaps that role in the business?
That's a good question. I mean, and there's a sort of technicality where sometimes it's done on a handshake, sometimes it's called a non-exec, but there is no legally binding sort of aspect, and sometimes it's a non-exec where you are a trustee of a business and you have a few more sort of formal duties. But if we looked in general and just said, the sort of the non-exec advisor role, I look at it as someone who can be a trusted advisor for the business owner and senior management team / board. So it's someone who can bring a slightly different perspective, who isn't in the business day in, day out. And so, can kind of have a slightly detached view. When you're in a business, you sometimes your nose is right up against the grindstone, you don't see stuff. The role there is to, bit of a different perspective, the odd challenge. And as I say, just to sort of give different views and perspectives. If you can help as well then with certain strategic aims and goals, like, say business development, but if you've got contacts you can link people in, that's an added value as well. But really, I try to look at it as you want to sort of customize it. What does that business, what does that individual need and want? And, is it about being on the end of the phone or just want to bounce ideas? We've sort of said it can be quite lonely being a business owner, and having somebody who you can have a conversation with and not be judged by it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can be quite helpful. So it can take a number of different roles. How do people know when they need it? I think it will depend on the sort of the business that you're running and the scale of it and all of those things. You probably do it anyway, I think, from the start, informally. I'm sure, be it partners or best mates or, sort of peers who you sort of chat to, and that's in effect, you're getting that support and advice. This is maybe just a slightly more structured way of building it into your business. It probably as well is a way of holding yourself to account.
Yeah.
Because if you engage and, you're sort of paying somebody to do it, that you're damn well going to use it, aren't you? And if you've sort of talk about goals and what you want to achieve, or this is a plan and we're going to meet in a month or 2 weeks, then you've suddenly got that voice there to get it done or explain why you haven't. So it's a neat way of accountability and just helping to hopefully make anyone's business better.
And I think that's the thing that probably intrigues me. It's that notion of, I talk to myself quite a lot, but I tend to get the same answers when I do that. And it's having someone that, as you say, you can kind of trust, who understands the ins and outs of your business. Because I think opening up, say, even your books or your ideas or whatever to somebody else, whoever they are, whether they're a friend or a partner or it's it's like taking your clothes off. It's quite daunting.
Totally.
So to have somebody on board who you can take a look and give it that fresh perspective, because as you say, they're not as engaged and they don't have all the baggage sort of thing. That's the bit I think I find quite intriguing, because it's that person who can actually then give you that advice.
Yeah. And when it's working really well, I think that's you're almost you build that rapport, don't you, where you want to be able to finish each other's sentences, and then you can get into the really good stuff and the real sort of challenge, and it's about trusting and opening yourself up, and they're the really good relationships. And I've always found that when you hit that spot is when a lot gets done. One of the challenges I have, I guess, having been operational, is I love doing and operating, and it is in these sorts of roles of letting others do. You're more guiding and advising rather than I'll get on and do it then. I have to sort of slightly rein myself back, because I do love doing that.
So that's interesting. How are you finding that balance now as a business owner? Because obviously there's so much to do in your business that isn't like delivering. There's lots of stuff behind the scenes. So how are you finding all of that nonsense, let's call it?
It's been okay so far. And again, that's where I think it helps, having a partner as well. And so Mark and I sort of tag team on that, and he obviously has a background, sort of say running a big regional centre for a big accountancy firm. So,
so he's good at the numbers.
Good at that, and good experience. But we try to keep the business simple.
Yeah.
And it's with what I'm doing. It's not about trying to take over the world with this. It's about something where I can really enjoy it, feel energized, add value, be busy, doesn't need to get too complicated. And I think that's part of where I'm trying to keep it quite stripped back.
Yeah.
And I know how I want it to work, and in my mind, I know how I deal with, emails and inquiry. And it's like, channel it through me. So that way you can keep it as simple as possible and not get tied up in unnecessary complexity. I've got a simple brain. I need to understand it, and then you can build it up, but
It's hard to keep things simple, though.
I think
isn't
it
it?
is,
I
yeah.
find it
I mean,
really
it's-
difficult.
I agree.
Every single day, my brain tries to overcomplicate things and go like, I don't know why I don't know why I do it to myself. It's
and the world's moving so fast, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're trying to keep up when you're trying to work out.
And of course, we have to use lots of tech now in business because I don't know. It's just the easiest way to make appointments and to keep on top of like day-to-day tasks. So.
Just trying to remember passwords. I reset so many different passwords and go, I thought I had a system somewhere, but...
Yeah, so I'll come back to you in a few years' time with this question.
Okay,
Keeping it simple. Pete, what was your question for Paul?
So, as Claire's pointed out, you are not in the first flush of youth. Whatever that is. What is the one
I feel
tip?
like I need to share a bracket now. I was thinking, how old is this Paul?
I'm 46. That's young, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to go 45 to 50.
My kids did say the other day, "Oh, you're halfway to being dead, Dad." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Brilliant for self-esteem.
But you've started. What is the one tip you would give to someone who is either thinking of starting out on their own in the 40s or has already started in the 40s? What is the tip that you think that, because it's different, as we said, it's different than starting in your 20s, different than starting in your teens or starting straight out of school. There's other, I realise this probably isn't the right word to use when we're talking about age, but there's other wrinkles that are in there.
Yeah. I think I'd just keep it simple and say, go for it. I've always sort of had that view, you don't want to die wondering.
Yeah.
And, time is finite, isn't it? And I always just sort of figure, look, you got to go for it and try it. And what is the worst that can happen? And try to balance your risks. But if you're thinking about it, then give it a go. Recognise it's not simple and straightforward, but it's as I say, I've been energised this year. And when you are learning new things, I go, well, that's great. I've enjoyed that. It may be a pain in the bum to work through some of the processes, but you learn from it. So yeah, I think it's not to be like, oh, I woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
That's not it's never been my mantra. I've always thought, well, let's give it a go and we'll try that. And that's probably why my career has been so eclectic. I mean, I quite like change. We moved around a lot when I was little, just my dad's job, and so I don't mind that. And I just think, why not? There's a film, the Dead Poets Society, of Robin Williams, and there's which I love, and there's a line in there about sucking the marrow out of life.
Yeah.
And I've always sort of that I don't know, kind of stays with me, and you think, you got to give it a go. I would hate to be there, and you think, I wish I'd started up my own business. So at least we'll have done it, and was it a success or not? Who knows? But I don't know quite how you measure life successes, do you? But you just want to enjoy what you do and around good people and all that good stuff.
I love the simplicity of go for it because, I mean, it kind of sounds a bit kind of trite, doesn't it, I think? But, I mean, it really is that simple. If you've got an idea or you want to start a business, just do it.
Yeah.
The worst that can happen is you just go and get another job.
Yeah, exactly. I think people, as people, we put barriers up, don't we?
Yeah, all the time.
And, there's a degree where, of course, they are real and people have responsibilities and things you've got to pay for and all of these sorts of such things. But you can make them either a reason not to do things or you can manage around it and, as I say, sort of mitigate your risks and still go for it. And that's if you're there wondering, that's what I would say. Give it a go. As your
Brilliant.
point, Claire, what else what's the worst that can happen?
I know, yeah. So let's just counter this this positive mindset that you've got and just dig a little bit deeper because there's always stuff behind under the surface. So what's the most challenging thing that you've got going on in the business right now?
It's I am positive. You know what? And I genuinely, it's not fake. I kind of just try to attack life in that way. It's probably that managing time and my time, and it's trying to get the right balance so that I can give full value to every single client. And again, I'm my own harshest critic, where I'm always wondering if I should be doing more, and then we reach an agreement and we're going to do a day a month or whatever, then I know I will put more than whatever someone would account as a day a month in. But I'm going, well, I could be doing more and more and more. And I suppose that's a challenge, to make sure that you are not overloading yourself, and then equally not taking on too many things that you literally cannot manage. And you have to sort of look in the mirror and go, that's enough now. Paul, no, you are full. You're up full to capacity. And the nature of this business, Element 45, with Mark, is that right now there isn't really a plan to, employ anyone else. Because it feels like the offering is my experience. Back to your sort of point, if you want Paul's experience, you need to get Paul. No point having Bob there who doesn't know. And that's a very different model. And again, we'll maybe see how the business evolves over time. So we come back in 5 years and now I've got a room full of Bobs. Then hey, that's the best thing going. But right now, so there is only 26 hours in a day, aren't there? So,
and we talk
that was
a
a
lot.
joke, by the way.
You don't have to be called back to work here, but it helps.
We talk a lot around this table about over-delivering because it's a big thing of business owners. We want to give loads of value, and therefore, we start over-delivering. And of course, that only leads...
Yeah. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, very hard.
No. I that's good to hear. That's quite cathartic, actually. Because... I'm
going to tell you to stop over-delivering. I can't help but go into coaching, or it's not coaching, it's just telling you stop over-delivering because...
Yeah. I'm just writing that down. Sorry, 1 second.
I found that I did some work with Kids Village, the charity, at the start of the year, and I'd been the trustee of lots of charities. I'd never sort of been on the other side, executive, doing. An amazing charity, and I'm still a trustee now, so it's very dear to me, and it's going to be amazing when we get it built. But I think that thing about over-delivering, I felt that in Technicolor with the charity. And you almost go, God, dear, I need to raise 5 million quid, and I need it. If I can do it today, we can build it, and it happens quicker. And it was a funny one, that, because I love that. And my task there was to get it launched and to recruit a chief exec. So did it, and got it off to a good start, and say I'm still involved now. But I would beat myself up, feeling why is that 5 million quid not in the bank already? And I think there was that charitable element that I just sort of reflected on it, and go, blimey, I'm really feeling hard about this. And you go, Paul, calm down. You've done this. So it's you do have to not over deliver and be a bit kind of yourself. But that was quite a lesson to learn.
Paul, we can do anything, but not everything. And that's what I always kind of remember, that we really can. But okay, so let's finish this on a lovely positive note. What has been the best thing about being your own boss?
I feel proud of myself. And again, looking back at Christmas, kind of, point, you thought, haven't just talked the talk. I've gone and done it. And again, that's maybe part of the little voice I hear in my head of pushing it. You go, well, if you've said that, then you better go and do it. And, have set it up and have managed through the things. I know more about the ins and outs of running a business now than I did 12 months ago. And it's worked, and I built up, working with great clients and people I really enjoy working with. And that was one of my goals, to work with people I like and people I want to sort of be around. And I feel I've got a nice, I've stuck to that. So I'm just proud for doing it. And it's interesting, when I was chief executive at the Chamber for 6 years, and so you're representing all these businesses. And I was very mindful. I was working for a lot of business owners who'd set up businesses, and I hadn't done it. So now, again, I feel I can talk on a different level because I've been there, seen it, and done it. And again, just not one for too much self-praise, but you give yourself that little pat on the back.
You have to,
and just go, great. And it kind of you turn the calendar and another fresh year, you're like, right, let's go at it again now, and I'll reflect in 12 months' time and just get on and do the doing in the meantime.
Yeah, I loved the thought of all the kind of chamber members being really proud of you when you started your own business. Because I was like, yes, this is great. To be on like one side of the table and then the other. So well done for having a great first year in your business.
Thank you.
And I think you've shared some really positive things today. But the overall thing from what you've shared is for people who are thinking about business, just don't overthink it. Just, go for it.
Yeah.
Really, it's that simple, isn't it?
Trust yourself. Believe in yourself.
Brilliant. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so for our lovely listeners, please subscribe, like and review so we can keep focused on the fun side of business too.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.